Hello everyone. I think it's all good here. Hey, well, it's Thursday the 15th of November, and as it says there are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. And boy, people, it's been one of those evenings. It's been one of those weeks. Now it's about 3 minutes past 7 here in London time, but more importantly tonight it's 3 minutes past 9 Nicosia time. And I say that because we're going to be joined by a lot of Cypriot people tonight, and things have changed today. This evening I was going to talk all about due diligence, and for reasons I will come on to later, I'm going to have to postpone that till Monday. And just looking at who's joined here already, I'd say the first 5 people are brand new people to my story, and we are being simultaneously broadcast on some other people's channels. This is being shared in Cyprus. So listen, it's been 1 week since I went live with BeyondContempt, and I'd like to start off, if I may, with just summarising the week I've had. I'll then talk about the British people I've met, and then I'll talk about the Cypriot people I've met, and I'm going to give a summary of my story. Now, I know it's up on all the videos, but as this is being broadcast live and shared on many walls tonight, I'm going to do a live summary and try not to get myself in trouble doing so. And then I want to just talk about what it's been like getting my message out. I'm just going to look down at some sort of comments. And good evening. Hi there. Yeah, as you can see from, I think I can see who's joined, and you guys can see who's commented. And yeah, it is a new audience tonight. But listen, as my audience who was following me in rehearsals at the weekend will know, that this time last week I went live with BeyondContempt, and I put up to YouTube 2 videos. Now those videos you can find on my website, and let me share my My apologies, everyone. You wouldn't have heard me there. Okay, thank you. The sound went there for a little while. Okay, what had happened was when I changed the, I'm new to the software now. A lot of people are expecting from Cyprus, are expecting a very polished channel from a chap called Michael Minnes, a very nice chap I've met this week, and a lot of people are followers to his channel. And they're going to be expecting something quite polished. But this is only my 3rd podcast, and there's going to be mistakes, and that was one of them. I had the microphone level down there. But we're going to come on to Michael Minnes and the context I've made this week in a minute. What I'd first like to just show you all is sort of the success of this week. And as you can see there from the videos, from top left, this one here, this was the advert I did, and it had 5.7 thousand views. That was a 2-minute video I did, and it was shared like that. Now, a lot of that, if you remember back to my live stream on Sunday, was actually from a paid advert that I took out. So I took out a paid advert. I paid £20 for that, and it got dropped there on 5.7 thousand walls. And for somebody who's been trying to tell his story, get it out there for 13 years for 20 quid, that's not bad going. But of course, that was an advert that, thanks to you people, was also shared on all your timelines and all the groups that you are members of. So thank you there. The next video here was, it's a video I did about the fight for Pasuri village, and that had 711 views. My Cyprus Silence in Court video, which is very important, it's number 2 in our series, 254. This is the main one. Now, if anyone is new to my story, if you go to Beyond Contempt and you go down to videos, if you have a look at this video here, Cyprus Beyond Contempt, it will tell you everything you need to know about me and my situation in the first 15 minutes. That's a good one. Now, this is an important video here, and it's how to contact me securely and anonymously. And boy, has that video earned its money this week, because it's been a very busy week. If I just go to YouTube, here you'll see, and I won't go through it all, but it's about 1,200 views. Now, last time I spoke was Sunday, and I said to you all that I was going to spend the next day on Twitter. Well, that didn't happen. As you can see there, I didn't tweet at all. I made just a few followers and had some people follow me back, and I had to stop. This was Monday morning now, people and folks, and I had to stop advertising or telling anyone else about this channel. Now, I always knew about the scale of the property problems in Cyprus, and particularly how the British have been treated over there. But I underestimated the speed in which people would contact me. And by Monday, I realized I can't promote this anymore. From Thursday, I had only gone on about 4 walls, I think it was. I was only published on 2, the Eastern Cyprus and somewhere else, and then I did a few forums on Saturday. And by Monday, I wasn't on top of things. I had lost control. I had to spend Monday morning doing some housekeeping, and then Monday afternoon, let me just change this. Monday afternoon, I spent on Skype. I spent on Skype talking to 2 British people. Now, I had to prioritize a lot of the folks who were contacting me. The first one I spoke to is involved, is in the UK. I can't say too much about it, but they've never left these shores, and they're in dire straits, and they need my help. Now, I'm going to be covering their cases, and hopefully I can help out there. Now, the second one, and he's given me permission to talk about his case at the moment, is a chap called Shawn. Now, Shawn saw my videos and contacted me, and Shawn needed my immediate help. Shawn's is not a property issue, but like mine, he was assaulted in Cyprus. Sorry, Shawn wasn't assaulted in Cyprus. His son was assaulted in Cyprus, and he was due up in court on Wednesday. And because of that, he was glued to my videos. He'd watched them a few times. He'd even quoted them back to me. But I had to give him spoilers to the videos that are coming, and I had to give him some quick tips for attending court, and see if we can help out Shawn and his family. Now, everything on Wednesday, so that in Larnaca, went exactly as we thought it would. He's come over here with his family for a terrible case, and it was over in 5 minutes, if that. And he's told to come back again next May. So he knew this going in. We spoke about it at great length on Monday and Tuesday. He expected it. He did my, as I say in video number 2, he did my number 1 tip for attending court, and that was to keep a diary. And he did that, and he's on a flight back home, I think probably right now. I haven't spoken to him today. Good news for me, Shawn only lives 20 minutes down the road here, so I'll be seeing Shawn at the weekend, and I'll be giving him updates on everything that's gone on. He has property in Cyprus. He loves Cyprus. And his poor son was beaten up so badly that Shawn does not think he can let this issue drop. He's got that sense of justice. He cannot. He knows what's ahead of him now. I've told him exactly what's going to unfold. That he's going to have a 2-year nightmare now of attending court in Cyprus. He's going to be flying back and forth, and he won't give up. He just cannot let this, what they did to his son drop. We're going to go into more details, and we're going to follow Shawn's case. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to interview him. But that was Shawn. Let me just take a drink and see what's going on in the room. Thank you to everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Now listen, if you've got a problem in Cyprus, I've said it in my videos, do shout out. You know, a couple of the people who I spoke to this week said, "Oh look, Connor, I saw your stream. I didn't want to jump on the bandwagon." And honestly, please do jump on the bandwagon. If a lot of people watching this are waiting for their title deeds. You know, just throw it straight up there. I've been waiting 20 years for my title deeds. You know, if you've got a problem, don't think you're stepping on my toes by just remaining quiet in the chat. Please do give a shout out to your own cases during this. But as well as meeting and speaking to a lot of the British people this week, I was pleasantly surprised, I can tell you that, obviously, to have a lot of the Cypriot community engage. So all this, now one of the major people who contacted me this week is a chap I'd like to introduce you now to, called Michael Minas. Let me bring this up here now. Michael Minas. Now, Michael Minas has started a new political party. I think he ran it the last elections. He'll have to forgive me because he has me at an advantage. I have all my life story on a video that he can understand, and I've been trying to get up to speed in the last few hours. But Michael Minas has a party called the Party of Justice. And I think this is going to, be of great interest to a lot of the British expat community over there, because this is a non-partisan party. They are not left-wing. They're not right-wing. They're against crime and corruption. They're against corruption. And so the other, when I first went live the other day, last week, one of the early comments, I think it was like comment number 9, was a Cypriot chap coming in and saying, just the one line saying Michael Minas. And I thought, oh, well, that's great. A Cypriot chap, after trying to pull in another Cypriot chap into the conversation. And then Mr. Minas, who I understand also ran to become president of Cyprus, but obviously it was a small party, I guess, a brand new party. But he's a politician as well as a broadcaster. And he's in the chat now, actually. He's in the chat now. And, oh, there he is. And he's pulling in more people too here. Now, on the 9th of November, Mr. Menas retweeted my story here. And I was gobsmacked. So straight away there, after seeing my videos, Mr. Menas had written, "Shame on us. Shame on Cyprus. Shame on us." Now, he wouldn't have known then, and he probably doesn't even know now. He certainly wouldn't have known what I've been through. Back in 2008, I rolled up outside the Cyprus High Commission here in London on this contraption. It was a bicycle with a box at the front of it. And what I did is I did not move off that doorstep across the road for 2.5 months. I slept rough outside the British High Commission for 2.5 months with a big banner saying "Shame on Cyprus," because what has happened to me and my family. That's 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, I sat there with banners. Let's read them out. We demand law and order. We demand the government acts. We demand an end to corruption. We demand our property rights. That was 2008. That's 10 years ago. I slept outside there for 2.5 months. We didn't have the technology we've got here today. You can see there I've got a little laptop, a tiny little thing. I was running off a battery, a car battery, and sleeping in that tent. I realized in 2008 how corrupt Cyprus was. And I was trying to end it for my family. And it's still going on. I was trying to get the ear of the president. I was trying to get the Attorney General to act for us. That was 2008. In 2009, some people started to buy me banners. You can see here, there's a professional banner. "Shame on Cyprus." Just like Mr. Minas said this week. I'm stood outside there at the Earl's Court property show, a place in the sun. People in the property shows, they spend £13,000 for a stand. My stand outside was more prominent than theirs. I had the property industry coming along, giving me hate at the gate. I loved Cyprus, and I was trying to end this for my family in 2009. Same year. South Cyprus. I had to say South Cyprus because I was getting a lot of abuse, people thinking that I'd bought in the north. I couldn't say the TRNC. That people in London, some of them, they wouldn't understand. A lot of people didn't even recognize their own flag of Cyprus. I had to say South Cyprus, buyer beware. Cyprus, island of fraud. Selling the same house twice is not a crime in Cyprus. And then I was joined by others the following year. All these people are property victims. I started to come out. A lot of these people are from victims of the Alpha Bank, victims of Alpha Panaretti. Every single person you see here is still suffering. And then we got bigger. This is probably 2010, 2011. No, this is 2010. We got bigger again in 2011. I don't have the photo for you tonight. But we only stopped protesting here in the UK because of the financial crash in 2013. The haircut, bailout, bail-in that brought Cyprus to its knees. We stopped we stopped protesting here because we didn't need to protest any longer. The corrupt developers and bankers, had ruined the country. The same people that we were shouting out about a long time ago. So I see there's a lot of people here now joining. So instead of talking about due diligence tonight, I'm just going to give a summary of my situation and what brought me to the streets of London to talk about that. Just forgive me for a sec. If you're new to my story, I bought an off-plan property in 2005. I was a cash buyer. I was doing really well in life. I didn't have a mortgage. I was buying in cash from a developer called Christophos Karianis and Son Limited in Paralimni. We bought a villa in Freneros off-plan. My daughters were 3 years old and 8 years old at the time. We chose an independent lawyer. We didn't choose their lawyer. I drew up my own contract with that lawyer. I'd read as I say, I was doing okay in life before then. I'd read a little known book in the 90s called The Art of a Deal by a little known author called Donald Trump. And part of Donald Trump's advice, although we know he had a ghostwriter now, was to write your own contract and present it to who you wanted to sign. I wasn't a fool. I didn't sign the developer's contract. I didn't use the developer's lawyer. I did everything right. And then I deposited that contract in the land registry for specific performance. And I kept up all payments to that developer, Karianis of Paralimni. Then in 2006, now remember it was a different time then. It was a different world. This is before the financial crash. He sold my house to another British family at a higher price to profit more. That is a fact. He sold my house to another person and he kept all my money. His lawyer at the time was the George Patagis of Paralimni. Now everything I'm saying here now has been on my website for over a decade. So there is absolutely, it's all court records. I'm not going to say anything that gets taken down, although we'll come on to that later. They said in 2006 that I breached my contract. I never did. I kept up all payments, and that was proved later in court. But in 2006, I suffered my first assault at the hands of this property developer. I captured that assault on video. I videoed my own assault. That videotape went into Dorinia police station. I came home expecting for my nightmare to end then in 2006, that the world would see that a man is beating up a family and that and that would be the end of that, and I would have my money back. But I didn't know how corrupt Cyprus truly was then. In 2007, the state prosecutor did not call me to court. They tricked my lawyer and said I should not come to court. I should instead give them some dates in a month or two of when we could get all this done over. Then, in my absence, they called for the case to be dismissed. I'm hearing now although I'm 10 seconds ahead of you, the developer was Christophos Karianis and Son Limited. It's Marius Karianis from Paralimni. They got away with the first assault very easily. So I went On my next trip to Cyprus in January 2008, I went there to take pictures of my house to prove the breaches of the contract they made. I was supposed to get a detached house. I wrote in my contract, a detached house. They built a link detached house. I went to take specifically that photo and many others to prove what a lying builder he was. They got wind from the occupant, the unlawful occupant, that I was outside the house taking photos. And in the center of the village of Frenos, while I was leaving, they rammed my car, dragged me out, and 3 of them put me in hospital for 6 days. It was 6 months till I was back to full health. In front of the whole village, 50 witnesses, and not one person intervened or came forward as a witness. But it was a slam dunk case. No need for witnesses. That assault was also videoed, but they had taken my camera and the memory stick. At that stage, I was victim of 2 assaults, and they had stolen my house and sold it to someone else, and I was in my contract in the land registry. And the Farmagusta's finest, the Paralimni police, would do nothing to investigate. So 2008 now, over 10 years later, over 10 years ago, I was told, it was explained to me how corrupt Cyprus truly was. That's why I went and did the 2.5-month protest outside in St. James's Square here in London to end this nightmare for my family. I didn't want 10 years of this. In 2009 started the first court case. Now, if you had an assault like that here in the UK, it would take 5 days in court, 5 days. It took 2 years in Cyprus. 2 years for an assault case. I was tortured by the court, flying back and forth for 2 years. I spent months away from my family to secure a conviction, and I couldn't give up. Just like Shawn, I couldn't give up, and I couldn't give up because I couldn't let them win. If I couldn't win in an assault case, how am I going to win in my property contract case? So for an assault that took only 5, maybe 10 minutes, I was on stand under cross-examination for 14 days. 14 court days, over 20 hours of cross-examination for an assault. Shame on you, Cyprus. I'm just looking at the comments here, and I've got one here from Leonie. Has the title deed of the house been transferred throughout the land registry office? I'll come on to that. I'll come on to that. So after 2 years, and they put up a hell of a fight, and I detailed all this in my videos, they got away with a suspended sentence. And at the Supreme Court, that was upheld. That was upheld because the Supreme Court understood that they were sorry and they were always willing to plead guilty. They put up a 2-year fight for that. And I did another 2 years then in a civil case. A civil case that they said they were even claiming damages from me. What for? For damage to their boots? Always willing to plead guilty. Then I had a huge fight for my house, for the property contract. They put up that, and I won that case as well. And I didn't get a penny in damages, not a penny back, not a flight fee, not... You win your case, but you lose outright. I didn't even get the return of my legal fees, a flight paid or anything. I was awarded legal aid by the state, the first ever case of cross-border legal aid ever won by a Brit. I put up a hell of a battle just to get legal aid. I was skint by then. Remember, I was buying my whole villa in cash. Now I'm skint. Now I'm on legal aid. My family's been in rented accommodation for 13 years. I'm sorry if this sounds like a rant, people, but I've got a new Cypriot audience tonight, and I just wanted to say that. I know I say it better and more succinct in all my videos. At the end of that case, I was ordered to hand over, to remove myself from the land registry and put the title into the unlawful occupant. I was given my money back. I was given my money back, but not a penny of damages. Not a penny. So yeah, I'm not in the land registry anymore. The unlawful occupant now owns the house. But it's worse. Oh, it's worse. For telling my story on the internet, for saying what happened to me, you're looking at a record breaker here, Cyprus. You're looking at a man who's broken your records. I was charged 50,000 euros for defamation, for calling this liar a liar. He is a liar. He was proved in court to be a liar. 50,000 euros and 10,000 euros for calling him a name on my website, for calling him Karianus instead of Karianus. I was called another 10,000 euros. That's more than the Cyprus Mail, or the Cyprus Mail had to pay Cyprus Airways. And you know what? They didn't prove a penny in damages. They didn't even bring their tax records, their accounts to court. You know why? Because they're ashamed of their taxes. They've never paid. There is no tax records. If you look at them, these people not only do this to me, they do it to you guys as well. Look, I'm ranting. That's my wife, Michaela. She's just reminded me about the legal fees. Never got a penny back in legal aid. I was awarded it, but never got a penny back. And you know what? Thank you, Chris. Chris has just put there in the comments. You know what was shouted to me in court when I was describing my injuries? You deserved what you got. That was shouted at me under that 14 hours of cross-examination. You deserved what you got for telling your story on the internet. And the judge effectively agreed. So can you imagine what a week I've had? First week of coming out. I'm in contempt of court now. Contempt of court in Cyprus. Told that if I go there again, I'll be committed to prison. And then within hours of sharing my story, I've met a lot of Cypriot people. I've met Michael Minas. I've been introduced to his political party standing under a corruption ticket. I've slept outside the presidential palace. I slept outside the presidential palace on a mission. A lot of people watching this will think, what was that all about, Connor, you madman? You just done 2.5 months sleeping outside in London. What's it going to do you there? I'll tell you what I was doing there. I was sleeping outside the presidential palace with just a towel over me, my beach towel over me, for a week, just to get my transcripts for court. You can get your transcripts for court here in the UK in under 48 hours. Anyone can. I'm still waiting for my court transcripts from 2012. I needed them court transcripts because George Patargis of Paralimni got on stand and he perjured himself. He committed perjury. Now, you may think, oh my God, Connor, they're going to pull the plug on this Facebook. Your wife's going to pull the plug on the fuse box. This has been on my website for over 10 years that George Patargis committed perjury. So I slept outside the presidential palace for 7 days just to get my transcripts. That's what that was all about, people. And then I took that to the Attorney General's office, who did a year's investigation. Go away, Mr. British man. Go away. And then came back and said, if you've got a problem with George Patargis, we find no criminal crime here. You apply. You complain to the Bar Association. Are you kidding me? The Bar Association, they wouldn't even disbar a drink-driving lawyer who would mount a curb of a payment on his mobile phone, drink driving and kill a foreigner. You think they're going to care about me losing my house? On Monday, I'm going to be talking about due diligence. I'm going to show you the due diligence I did, not only in finding my developer and the lawyers, but also the due diligence I did in selecting Cyprus, and that these people are part of the European Union, and we're both Commonwealth countries. I'll calm down now. This isn't how I wanted my first live stream to go. But you know, when I've been contacted today, you know, by some people, by Michael Minas, and he did a live stream. Let me show you here. Let me show you here. Can you see that? 5 hours ago, this man with a microphone spoke in Greek and started telling his community about me. And then since that broadcast, him and his friends, or I don't know, him and his connections, they've been sending me friend requests. And we're talking professional people. Estate agents. So that's why it changed tonight. That's why I'm not talking to you about due diligence. Okay. Listen, this is to my new audience. If you haven't seen my first two videos, they're up there already. Cyprus Beyond Contempt and Cyprus Silenced in Court. I'll show you how the press was shut out of the courtroom in covering my case. Those top two videos are already up on YouTube. My next video will be about court transcripts in Cyprus. I'm going to be showing you how every British man says in court is deemed inconsistent and not credible. I'm going to show you don't get your court transcripts. I'm then going to be showing, I've done a video about your place in Cypriot society. It's important to know your place in Cypriot society. And it's not just us, British, over there. You have to be, as I say in the first few seconds of my first video, a well-connected local Greek Cypriot. You have to be a well-connected local Greek Cypriot. Them ordinary man in the street that we met on our holidays, and that we fell in love with and we talked in the coffee bars and the coffee shops, they're not the ones in power. You got to know your place in Cypriot society. Then I'm doing a video called Corruption in Cyprus. I've seen it. I've tasted it. My God. I'm going to be showing you the early signs of corruption. So many people on the forums, they come back and they say, oh, I went to the police station. You should have seen him. He was outraged. We went on there. We told him my story. Oh my God, he picked up the phone. He spoke to my developer. He spoke to my lawyer. This man, he absolutely went. This sergeant at the desk in the police station, he really gave him a belting. The amount of times I've seen that story, and then a year later, nothing happens. Nothing happens. I know what's going on. We all know what's going on. We're not stupid people. We may have made a stupid mistake. I'll be talking about corruption in Cyprus. I'll be talking about the Auditor General and the good work he's doing, and the triangle of corruption that he explained. And then, oh my God. Then I'm going to talk to you about a court case in Cyprus. I've just given you a brief overview of what's going on here, but I'm going to be really getting down and dirty with a court case and not rambling here and talking off the cuff. I'm really going to tell you what went on in one of my cases. And when you see that, and that case is awaiting appeal right now, it's way overdue. And way overdue. You don't have to look further than the CY Law database to see that the British are waiting years later, years more than anyone else for their court cases to come up. But listen, I'm going to leave it there. My videos are up on YouTube, on Facebook. I'm having to put them up on all these other platforms too, because I'm in contempt of court, because they're going to come for me. But when things get exciting, I'll let you know. It's not how I wanted it to go today. It's actually been a very good week. It's actually been a very good week. I've met more people, today than this week than I have in a very long time. And yeah. It's been good. But listen, I'm sorry for taking up your time. This has been 45 minutes. It was supposed to be a short one. But let me go through the comments now. Michael Minnes is pulling in a lot of his friends. Leonie, some very nice comments there. Is this what brought the Cyprus economy and society to its knees? Well, I can tell you this: the people who have taken, I don't want to say. Okay, stay tuned. Stay tuned. I don't want to speak in anger. Another man saying, bravo, Mr. Michael Minnes, a man who has always been willing to help, and he has brought the problem to our knowledge. I couldn't agree more. Your anger is totally unacceptable, Mr. Connor. You can't talk about that without being angry. Thank you, sir. I would love it if you gave me the, please send me a direct message and let me know how to pronounce your name. I would appreciate that. Oh, I can see Michael Minnes is calling in my my developer, Maris Karianis. I don't think you'll get any joy there, sir. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Derek. Listen, thank you, everyone. I won't waste up any more of your time. It's been honestly, I can't say how good of a week it's been. I know I had to give my summary of my story there to a new audience off the cuff, and it's a painful story to tell. So of course I'm going to get angry, emotional, and come off like a very bitter man. But what can I do? Listen, thank you for tuning in. Please share this video if you've with your friends. I've actually had more views since after the live streams than I do with the live streams. And to all to all the people I told on all the British expat forums that I'm going to be talking about due diligence, and they all came on tonight bloodthirsty. I was going to take them down a path where I was going to show some very bad people and expose them. We'll do that on Monday, okay? We'll build a gallows on Monday. And you know me. You know I'm not going to give up, and you know I'm going to keep telling it like it is and expose these people who are doing damage to me and do damage to you. Listen, thanks very much. Have a good evening. I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to have a kiss and cuddle with the wife. And I suggest hold your loved ones dear and give me an extra squeeze tonight. Cheers. Bye-bye now.